Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for coming along. Myself and fellow Dragon Philip are very interested to hear what you've got to say.
Thank you for having us today, Dragons. We're eager to present our lovely idea to you.
And Pharrell.
And Pharrell. But yeah, we're Lads and Debt. That was sort of the best company name we could think of. And
Missing
start
a lad.
We're missing one lad at the
but,
moment.
we'll introduce him to you.
Yeah, we'll introduce him now. This is lad number one.
Sound is gone.
16 plus finishes, 18 plus finishes, university dropouts, career progression, those dissatisfied with their current employment, and university graduates. The second segment is employers. We have 5 employer segments: advertising and marketing communications, design, creative and digital media, music business, and interactive design and development. We use 3 clearly defined channels to reach prospective apprentices. Firstly, we will use social media, as this is where 16 to 24-year-olds are most responsive, and we will use paid channels. We will also use email marketing to reach target market through email marketing campaigns using credible email lists and data. We will also use out-of-home advertising. We will use public transport to reach the apprentices while they are on their way to work. This is an opportunity to target our market when they are most likely to be thinking about employment and consider apprenticeships. We will also use employment fairs to generate leads for apprenticeships. Finally, we will use partnerships with brands that are popular amongst our target audiences. We will be able to reach them in an environment they trust and be able to change their perception of apprenticeships. Digital will support these 3 channels in the following ways. Having grown up around the fast-paced change of technology and everything it brings with it, 16 to 24-year-olds are the most tech-savvy and digitally engaged audiential marketers, and this is only increasing. Within this strategy, digital channels will allow us to reach the audience within what is arguably their most natural environments through mediums they are familiar with. We'll be able to harness these digital channels to promote partnerships with brands and vice versa. The larger brands that have existing presence on social networks that currently have no paid advertising opportunities, such as Snapchat and Instagram, will also be very valuable to us. We will also be able to use digital channels to follow up leads generated in employment fairs.
Very, very dodgy and cut.
Lad.
That's the first line. Now on to the debt.
So the importance of targeting. Targeting is important to minimise wastage, minimise appearing in the wrong environments, and in helping to achieve reaching customers who are most likely to convert. Targeting approaches like geography, time of day, and advertising contextually on relevant sites allows companies to achieve this. For example, online presence is important due to apprenticeship companies' young audience. Young people interested in the service offered are most likely to search for it online, they're tech savvy, and they may be more likely to engage with online advertisements generally. We recognise the importance of visibility within these searches, and that techniques such as retargeting campaigns can be used to ensure that we're included. Social media will be a key area for companies for exposure. Retargeting campaigns run with affiliates on a CPA basis allows companies to appear in a familiar environment to the relevant audience. The use of keywords ensures this, advertising brands to people who have searched for similar things and therefore more likely to click through and ultimately convert to becoming a customer. Email campaigns also allow companies to target specific sectors using mailing lists with people's basic information, so young people who are unemployed or in late stages of school education will be at the forefront. An aesthetically engaging email creative helps to target these people on a platform that is now most commonly used when applying for jobs or things such as apprenticeships. Employment agencies such as Reed and Fish for Jobs target people searching for opportunities directly. This also adds an element of eligibility to our brand. Users will be able to see reviews from services or from other learners, which are more relatable and should be constructive. People will trust these more, and we can therefore cover another relevant element of doubt and reach out to those more likely to convert. The use of school leavers data allows companies to target the market, to target gaps in the market. So those young people who have finished education and are looking to make their next steps but are not necessarily clear on the idea as to what that is. So we'll represent apprenticeships in an up and coming way which will engage a user, and in a way that they've been perceived in the media recently as a good opportunity and a foot into any industry. There are a number of regulations surrounding email marketing in particular, which differ according to whether you target individuals or an organisation, so it's important to keep up to date with the latest practice. Being blacklisted, for example, due to sending spam, will stop an organisation from targeting certain areas in future, which can be detrimental to exposure. When sending emails to any list of people, organisations must now include the full registered name and office address of their company, as well as a country of registration. There must be a clearly displayed opt-out link on every email, allowing receivers to opt out of future email messages. The importance of ensuring this is to not send spam to potential customers and turn them off, whilst of course staying in accordance with the law. Holding competitions and giveaways is sure to increase traffic, awareness and potential new readers or customers. They need to be legit, and laws mean that all competitions must have rules which are clear and concise. A link to rules in an easy to find and conspicuous place will help people find them and also encourages them to read on. An unsubscribe link must be available. Sometimes it can be tempting for businesses to hide this in order to maintain a high reach for each broadcast they send. However, we can overcome high unsubscribe rates with relevancy. In order to keep people reading email marketing, we can make every message relevant to the recipient, making them less likely to opt out of communications. It's important to evaluate the impact of our communications. There are a number of factors to consider, including the channel in which we attempt to contact them and our conversion rate. This can be viewed from our click-through rate in relation to the actual inquiries or applications sent. Cookie use can show this, as well as data collected from API channels from affiliates. SEO results, both natural and paid, will be visible on these channels. Elements such as the time of day which brought most success will help us in positioning our print broadcasts in future, so when these are most likely to not be viewed, but not only be viewed but have the most impact on viewers. A good immediate impression is important to withstand engagement. The logo and company name, Lads, Ladette, achieves this. The cool language will be recognisable to young people and almost comical in the way they contrast to the service offered. Catchy and relatable call to action, so initial dialogue which engages a user is crucial. It's important when keeping users engaged to ask for their interaction. For optimal results, we can make our call to action visually attractive by including large buttons, for example, to a YouTube video, asking people to share a video, and open up further channels, asking them to subscribe. Sharing an organisation makes a user aware of us on another platform and also further markets us to their own friend base. The use of channels such as Facebook and Twitter in marketing allows to measure results against people's information and which tactic is most effective to our certain audience segments. This helps to further refine targeting methods in future, making them more precise and cutting down wastage. Paid and results marketing methods and systems allow us to extract data from email campaign results as well as incentives we may run, such as vouchers. We can target users who have shown interest in other ways, like following up with an offer we know they have not received previously. Timing is key, as contacting a customer too soon or too late could mean an organisation is seen as spam or simply forgotten about. Digital marketing with measurable responses allows us to do this precisely with less leakage, improving every time as a reflection of the data we collect.
So we're now going to talk about understanding technologies and the technologies that Farrell needs to understand as someone who's going into this field. So first we're going to talk about the design requirements of certain technologies that you'll be using. The first we're looking at is data capture. So with data capture you want to be looking at the kinds of data that you want to be collecting. So we're talking about things like the types of apprenticeships that people are more interested in, the kind of contact information that you're collecting. So things like phone numbers, email addresses, postal addresses, although a lot of people don't use them these days, it's still something that might be worth taking into consideration. Also the types of employer that you're taking on and looking into, so things like small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, or even sole traders. It's important to be capturing this data and having that on file. And also the location of your customers, so you know where they are and what things like types of apprenticeships are popular in which area. The next thing, you need requirements for a reporting system. So you would, if you're looking to write or receive reports about the way that your company works, you want to look at your apprentices' progress. So how far along in your courses your apprentices are, and if that is the expected progress that they are making. How many successful or completed apprenticeships you have, the pass rates for your apprenticeships across the board, which customers you have repeat custom with, and how many of them. Repeat customers generally a pretty good signifier of the quality of your service. So you want to be making sure that you report on that. Also the number of complaints also tells you what your company to client relationship is like. So the more complaints you have, clearly there's something that needs to be improved, whereas if you have fewer, you seem to be on the right track. And finally, the number of inquiries around your company. So how many people are looking to become potential clients. And finally, for response systems for digital marketing, you want to be looking at the ways that you can talk directly to your clients in real time, and how you respond to them. So you can think about social media. Very often, a social media page, for instance, Twitter, is the first port of call if a client wants to get right in touch with the company in a public way. You could offer web chat through the company website, so that a client or a customer could go onto the website, press the call button, and get into contact face-to-face with the customer services representative, which is almost as good as a face-to-face meeting. If you are sending out a newsletter, which in this case you will be, you might think about setting up an auto-respond, so that if anyone does send an inquiry in response to your newsletter, there is a placeholder there saying that that their inquiry will be dealt with. Of course, you then need to put something in place to make sure that that issue is dealt with. Phone contact, much the same as web chat. You want to be able to make sure that there is a team available for your clients to talk to, and text and messages, much the same on a different platform. So we're talking about things like WhatsApp and things like messaging. So customer relationships management, or CRM, is something that you'll be using a lot. So what are the uses of CRM? Firstly, you'll be using it to ensure that customer service is of a high standard throughout the company. And this feeds into sharing data throughout the company, making sure that customer records are shared and kept throughout the company. So every piece of communication between the company and the client is kept on record. So if another employee needs to find out this information when they're dealing with a customer, the information is all there. It means that customers aren't asking the same questions more than once. It means the company isn't asking the same question repeatedly, which ultimately doesn't keep good relations between the company and the client. And it also provides monitoring for customer satisfaction. So if you have all of the complaints that are made by customers, all of the issues, how they are dealt with on a CRM system, you're able to analyze how the customer satisfaction rates are working and if you're doing a good enough job. So what should your CRM system include? Firstly, it should include a campaign overview of each of your campaigns and each of your projects, including things like response rates, conversion rates, ongoing tasks, and recent changes to the campaign, among other things. These basic aspects allow you to keep tabs on what's going on in your project and your company at a pretty easy glance. You'll also want social media activity streams. Most people use more than one social media channel, and it's much easier to be able to keep tabs on something like that through a cohesive and linked up CRM system. You'll also want a facility for updating on leads and opportunities with customers. So knowing when a lead has arisen, when a customer has gotten in touch, and when that has been turned into an opportunity and the company is dealing with that interest. You'll also want a recording system for all client correspondences. So that's all phone, email, social media, or even post correspondences. So these things are all on file available for all employees. So when we're talking about marketing through social media and marketing through email flyers, there are several similarities and several differences between the two. I'm going to go through similarities first. So with both social media and email marketing, customer permission is required before any communication is undertaken. Be that subscribing to the newsletter, the customer taking the initiative in that case, or liking a Facebook page, or choosing to follow a Twitter account. These are ways that a customer can give permission for you to then start marketing to them. They also both encourage customer interaction or direct customer communication, both of them going through personal channels as opposed to a wider advertising campaign, e.g. posters, flyers, etc., which are impersonal to a certain extent, whereas emails go straight to personal email accounts and social media interaction goes straight to social media accounts. Particular differences that you can see with social media, especially with things like Facebook, you'll need to be choosing the correct social channel. So if you're setting up as a company, you don't want to set up your Facebook page as a personal page. This is also illegal. So it's best not to blur those lines. And it also makes it easier for people to understand your company and what they're getting involved in when they like your Facebook page and are getting updates from it. Equally, though, you have to be aware of which social media channels are useful to you and your company. So if you're not a shop, you may not be so interested in using Foursquare because people aren't visiting you necessarily. Email marketing is less interactive than social media marketing. With social media marketing, it's much more conversational, whereas very often, unless you're getting click-throughs and conversion rates, people aren't replying to email marketing. They're not replying to newsletters on the whole. So with tracking systems, which is also something that you need to be taking into consideration for. There are several disadvantages and advantages to both of these tools. So if you're looking at open rates, a serious advantage of having information analytics on open rates is that you're able to see the reach of your email. So how many of the people you're emailing are active, are opening your emails, are reading them. There's no point having a huge email list if only 10% of the people you're sending them to are opening your emails. However, a disadvantage of using open rates as an analytical tool is that it doesn't measure your customer response. So just because someone's opened an email doesn't necessarily mean that they're acting on it. It simply means that they've opened it and they may or may not have read it. Whereas if we're looking at conversion rates, it shows you how many potential clients have responded. You know, how many people have responded to that email that you have sent out. And this often will tell you what the route from casual to client is and how many of the people that you're engaging in email marketing are then going on to become clients. Unfortunately, the subject of your conversion may not reflect the overall goal of the company. So if your conversion rates rely on customers filling out a questionnaire, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're then going to go on and become paying customers. And for the uses of digital technologies, when you're looking at CRM systems, email, social networks, they can be used for several different things, including retention, acquisition, and the conversion of the audience in the organization. So CRM systems can be used for retention by monitoring customer and company relationships and making sure that the relationship is active and positive throughout. Email can be used for retention by monitoring company awareness, by monitoring the customer awareness of the company and its services. So making sure that the company is fresh in the client's mind. If a client doesn't hear from a company for 6 months to a year, very often it's unlikely that they're going to be the first port of call if they are looking for those services, because it's just not fresh in their mind. Equally, social media can encourage a customer to become engaged and encourages interaction, which again keeps the company and their work fresh in their mind. Hack away at something.
On social networks, retention of the apprentices is especially important, because if you're engaging with your apprentices on social media, they're a lot likely to engage back with you. And if you can make them see you not just as a company, but as someone someone they can talk to about their worries or disbeliefs about what apprenticeships can offer, they're more likely to use your service in the future rather than someone else's.
So for acquisition, you can use social media links on the company website to encourage people who are simply browsing or dwelling on your website to then go onto your social media networks and become more involved in the company and their services. And this way, you can often convince companies or potential apprentices to become involved in the schemes that we're running. You can use equally, you can use email links to email newsletter sign-ups through the company website to encourage them to become involved in your regular newsletters and so inform them of what's going on in the company and of upcoming offers, etc. In terms of CRM systems, for acquisition, you can keep tabs on what products have been successful with which customers, and using that information, you can continue selling new products to existing clients. And this means you get repeat custom, but it also means that your products are going to places where they've been proven to work before. You can also use CRM systems for conversion by scheduling customer follow-ups to continue contacts and making sure that the company is fresh in their mind. For email, you can promote company products through your email correspondences so that they know what's available to them. And in social media, using social networks, you can promote the products through social media interactions. So when you're managing digital databases, you're mostly thinking about permission marketing and suppressions related to the permission marketing. One thing to particularly be aware of in terms of permission marketing is that you need to ensure that the customer permission is given before any communication is started, because that's essentially the point of permission marketing. You want to make sure that they have liked your Facebook page and not just sending them spam in the case of email, is that they've actually asked to be given that information. You should link all of your permission marketing tools together. So Facebook, email, Twitter, preferably through CRM systems so you can keep tabs on what's going on. And you should make sure that you use regular communications while you're doing this to make sure that the customer is engaged as much as possible. With suppressions and opt-out options, you need to include an opt-out option in all of your email correspondence, be that a simple email or a subscribe newsletter. So if the customer no longer wants to receive the emails, they have that decision. As Amy said, it can be tempted to try and hide this. Don't do it. Sorry. You should also use CRM customer records to manage the individual customer suppressions, so you know which customers are asking to be suppressed and which are asking to be outright excluded. Very often with suppression, a client will ask not to receive emails for a certain amount of time, whereas outright exclusion is they don't want anything more to do with you. And keeping this on a CRM system means that everyone is able to see these records. So a customer isn't going to receive an email they don't want to have just because one employee hasn't been You can also use, it's also important to send a reminder email, probably just one, to at a later date, maybe 6 months after the initial suppression, to ask the client if they would like to receive communications again. That way, if they just forgotten to restart their subscription, or have decided that they no longer want to be involved in the company, they have that option. So if you're using CRM systems for awareness campaigns, there are two upsides and two downsides here. So one upside of a CRM system in an awareness campaign is that it promotes good customer relationships. It makes sure that your customer service is the same across the board, and it means that no matter who the client is talking to, they're talking to someone who knows them and what their relationship with the company has been previously. And it also ensures that communications are at an equally high standard throughout the campaign. However, to manage a CRM system badly, it can be detrimental to the company. And also, setting up a CRM system can be time consuming. Equally with social media, the wonderful thing about social media is it's real-time customer interaction. So it's very fast and it's very responsive. It also encourages interactivity. However, it publishes everything in real time. So if any mistakes are made in real time, it can be detrimental to the reputation of the company. Equally, if you handle a customer incorrectly, it can equal a loss of custom. And any issues that a customer has with you are also published on the World Wide Web, and that can be detrimental to your reputation. Finally, we're going to look at non-interlopable technologies, specifically at the issues you may have when a company is using maps and it's in the scoring.
I remember it actually, but sorry, carry on.
So one issue you could have is the incompatibility between hard drives for file sharing. This means that if you're sharing a file from a Mac to a PC or vice versa, these issues could often slow you down. So if you're working against a deadline and you need to send a file from one computer to another so colleagues can talk about it, it means it slows you down, you lose time, and you could ultimately miss that deadline. A good way of dealing with this is to save documents to cloud storage. Because everything's saved on an online hard drive, you can then just pass documents from one to the other without relying on different technologies in order to save your files or your data. You can also have software differences. A good example of this is if you're looking at Macs, they have several different fonts that Word on PCs simply don't have. And if you're moving files from one to the other, very often documents reformat, they change, and they could even be corrupted in the transfer. A way of dealing with this is to export, for instance, Word documents as PDFs or other multifunctional document types that can be read between the two different kinds of computers. So for instance, if you've made a document on Word on a Mac, you can then save it as a PDF and it will work equally well no matter what platform you're using it on. Also, if you look at things like applications, an application may only be available on iOS or on Android. This could be because your programming has only focused on one, or because your application hasn't passed the rigorous standards that the Apple iStore puts all applications through. The best way to look at that is to make sure that all apps during the conception and design and finishing stages are designed and are usable for all platforms, be that iOS, be that Android, or in the very unlikely event that someone's actually using a Windows Vimeo phone.
We thought we'd include the SEO training guide as part of our presentation because we just believe it's such a crucial part of appealing to apprentices online. Why is SEO important? It's important because it determines where your website will appear in the search engine's page rankings. The site listings are shown based on what the search engine deems most user relevant. So you can have good SEO and you can have bad SEO. A good SEO even helps a web page appear higher in search engine's page rankings, but only when relevant keywords and terms related to the site searched. If it's good, People will see your website first and will be more likely to browse your content over your competitors. And the foundations of great SEO come from good structure, engaging content, reputable links, and targeted relevant keywords and metadata. Now, bad SEO can do very bad things to your website and the search engine. It can lead to your website not being viewable. So if you create a website out of Flash instead of HTML, SEO spiders won't be able to read it quickly and the page will load slowly, indexing you lower than other pages that have been created in HTML, which will maybe drop in page rankings. And black hat or illegal SEO, such as keyword stuffing or doorway pages, can lead to your website getting taken down or getting a strike against it and being suspended, leading you to have a massive process to try and get it back up in the rankings. And the site links needed? Yeah, they're definitely needed. You have internal and external site links. Internal site links are to do with the navigation of your site. So you want apprentices to come onto your site and they want to have it all laid out for them so they can navigate it clearly and efficiently. By ensuring everything's linked up, the spiders will be able to read your website's content with greater efficiency and will rank you higher in the search engine. And external site links link to pages on other websites. If you're linking to reputable sites, it can make your site look like it's giving more relevant information to its readers. So if you want to, say, give apprenticeships more info on a specific field of work they're searching, you can place information about a certain job underneath an apprenticeship vacancy. And if that links to that site, you'll see your content is much more relevant. External links that should be avoided are user-generated ones, because you'll run the risk of becoming a link farm and getting penalised by a search engine. Now, meta tags and keywords, and they're really, really important for you to even exist in the page rankings. And arguably, the most important metadata is the meta title, as that's what the viewer will see on the search engine results page first in the nice hyperlinked view code. And that's all in code. Like, you'll never see the metadata, you have to do that in coding. And the meta title should always be really relevant and not be packed with loads of sort of trying to target keywords, where it should be concise and clear to try and make the user click on it, in your case apprentices. And the meta description is also really crucial, and it should more than likely feature a call to action to entice the audience and make your or potential apprentice want to click on it. Like keywords such as most appealing jobs for 16 to 24-year-olds, will probably put them away as they'd probably just see that as lies. No call to action, so click here to see what jobs might appeal to you. That's probably a better one. Off-site SEO. And that's when you'll be promoting your website across the World Wide Web. It builds awareness for your site and invites other users from other sites into your website. There are different forms you could take, such as YouTube videos, content marketing on relevant blogs, so commenting in threads to try and get people driven to your website, and even reaching out to bigger, more relevant blogs or companies to link back to you, to try and get their visitors to visit your website in hopes that they will hopefully convert. And you can use social media as a good platform for off-site SEO. I think Google Plus has the highest rates of sort of linking back, and it gives you the most relevancy out of any form of off-site SEO. And social bookmarks should be placed throughout your site, so visitors should be encouraged to use them. And that will create deep links for rich, relevant content. And return on investment in SEO can be calculated through these 4 KPIs. Traffic. So if your traffic's being increased by 16 to 24-year-olds over the course of your SEO campaign, it's probably a good thing. But if traffic's dropping off, then your keywords might not be targeted enough, the title you've used may not be the best, and the description might not be enticing enough. Quality inbound links are another good KPI. If more people are linking to you, that can mean the external site links that you've offered could have made them link back, and you could have formed a good relationship for future reference. High quality traffic. So if more users, or if more traffic's coming to your site, that's a good thing. But if those users that are visiting are averaging higher dwell times and actually converting and applying for those apprenticeships, it's a really good indicator that your SEO campaign is going the right way. And revenue sales, but in your case, applications. If applications are going up, then your SEO is probably going quite well.
We have been last of that.
Woo!
Okay.
I can hand that out.
Over.
You've got a blog to hand out. Okay. Just a few questions for you. You explained different social media networks. Which one do you think would be most useful to innovative procedures in terms of capturing new apprentices, first of all?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Sort of gain more information on their profile, who they are as a person, so you can show them apprenticeships that are more relevant to them. Because with Twitter you can't really get that much detailed information on, and Tumblr's not really relevant because that's just pictures.
Why? I like those pictures.
Okay.
Adverts can be specific to their information as well, so adverts that appear on the right hand side of Facebook can be generated by what other things that they're looking at on Facebook, so it's more relevant. Whereas Twitter, you kind of have to search for trends, and most of them are paid trends that pop up on your timeline.
Even sites like LinkedIn could be really useful, as you'll find out what a potential apprentice wants for employment in the future. You can see his aspirations and his interests, even his qualifications, so you can put forward much more relevant content using sites like Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. Philip?
I don't actually have any questions.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well done.
Well done.
Okay, so now you're officially off camera. How do you feel that went?